Hello and welcome back to another episode of Why I Hate This Movie. I'm your host, Derek Rios, joined with my co-host, my heterosexual life mate, Danny Newton. Say hi, Danny.
Hello, Derek. How are you?
I'm good. We got another fun movie today.
Yeah, we do.
Going back to my childhood, 1995.
They don't make them like this anymore.
Judge Dredd. Right in the middle of the 90s action one-liner flicks.
Oh, this is classic cinema.
Oh, it's great. Minus some really bad CGI effects. A lot of this actually still holds up pretty well.
It surprisingly does. I was shocked. A lot of the set design and a lot of just the overall character designs, the stuff they used to make this, like prosthetics and makeup, not so much CGI. The CGI in this movie was horrible.
It was pretty bad.
But it's mid-90s.
But everything else...
Everything else, yeah, it was pretty decent. This could easily be reshot today, and everybody would be praising Disney for making another masterpiece if they drug Dredd over from DC into the MCU.
You can't leave out Rob Schneider, though. He's really a big driving force of this movie.
Oh, my God.
Rob Schneider.
Rob Schneider.
Is the comedian's sidekick.
I do not like Rob Schneider.
I can't hate him. I love a lot of Adam Sandler movies.
Yeah.
He's just right there in the middle of most of them. So, just starting off, the opening credit reel, the Dredd comics flipping open, and even the music. I'm pretty sure Marvel stole this.
Yeah.
Opening sequence.
Yeah. The music was on point. It was showing comic books, like all the different Dredd covers. And then it started doing the comic book page flip into the logo. Yeah, that's straight up plagiarism.
I'm pretty sure that none of the Marvel movies had done this up to this point.
No.
Because none of the big ones had come out yet.
X-Men was still a couple years down the road, right? Yeah. It came out in 98. Marvel, they straight up stole this from Dredd. Dredd has been robbed.
Poor Dredd. We start the movie with, there's a scrolling sequence just kind of explaining that the Earth has pretty much been devastated.
Yeah, it's very Conan the Barbarian in their scroll read.
Pretty much the only thing alive left anymore is there's a few megacities around the world. There's actually about 50 or so. This movie takes place in the year 2099. Around 2070, there was a big nuclear apocalypse.
Right.
Actually, the U.S. president rigged the election and then started nuclear war. Everything outside these megacities around the world pretty much is just devastated. And everything outside of... There's 3 megacities in the U.S. And everything else is just the cursed earth. It's just desert wastelands now.
Yes,
with mutated monsters and people. Yeah. The megacities were formed back in around 2030s.
Yeah, they started building on them in the late 20s, early 30s, right? Just as basically an answer to population.
The original Megacity 1, which is where this takes place, expanded the entire East Coast. It was pretty much from Florida to Maine.
Yeah, when they say megacity, they mean it.
Yeah.
Like, there's probably, 14, 15 states that make up this megacity? Yeah. Actually, more than that.
Easy, because New England, there's like 13 right there.
Yeah.
It's all in there. It expands all the way down to Florida. But then in 2070, a lot of it got taken out. The population around 2030, when it was established, there was 800 million people living around this area.
Yeah.
And then by 2070, and then there's another war later on, it dwindles down to about 400 million. And the megacity still expands from about Virginia up into Canada, like around Maine area.
I mean, other than the population density, I don't think there's only about, 350, 400 million people in America. We're right on track.
Yeah.
We're going to get megacities any day now. We're going to have street judges running around saying that they are the law.
So the judge system was actually established in 2032. We are kind of on track as a society if we can't deal with the overpopulation and then...
Ecosystems collapsing.
Yep.
Global warming. Food shortages.
Food shortages, yeah. I don't think we'll get megacities like this, though.
No.
I don't think that'll ever happen.
We'll get the Road Warrior before we ever get megacities.
Oh, yeah. Actually, some of the artists that worked in the comics actually went and worked on Fury Road later on.
That's awesome.
The whole concept is just a wasteland. Overpopulated. People are just herded. There's no real good education. Everyone's just there.
They're existing to just exist until they don't exist anymore.
At this point, the government pretty much supplies everything. Their food, their clothes. Some of them get housing. For the most part, the unemployment rate is 98%.
Mm-hmm. It's like The Expanse. Everybody lives on basic.
Oh, yeah. Any stimulus, like sugar, coffee, are all legal. There's like designated domes where you can smoke, and that's the only place in the cities. And whenever you die, your corpse is owned by the city. Your family can buy it back for an exorbitant fee. If they don't, you just get recycled to the Soylent Green, the food mill.
Yeah.
One of the first things we see is the robot going through this hallway as Rob Schneider goes to his home. Angel Haven, and he thinks it's a nice place. Yeah, but they're not going to send criminals to a nice place, even though he only did 6 months for like hacking a bank or ATM. Right? Yeah, they send him to just the slums where there's just a current turf war going around. Yeah, and pretty much all these blocks, all these buildings are segregated, almost form their own families. So they just have turf wars nonstop because people are pretty loyal to their block. He just kind of gets thrown in the middle. And you see this robot going down the hallway, and it's like, oh, eat recycled food. It's good for the environment. It's not that great for you.
Sweet, delicious people. But immediately, this place just explodes into a full-scale battleground turf war. I don't know where they get these weapons from. Yeah. You would think with as strict as the judge law is, there's no way they would have these weapons.
As strict as the judge ruling is, there's not a lot of judges to enforce them.
Oh, okay.
So the judge system is pretty much, they're just officers.
Right.
Who can enforce a law, and there's no jury.
Right.
They're the jury. They automatically give the judgment.
No knock warrants, just like today.
Yep. And it's really kind of scary how the current law enforcement
it really made me think the same thing. Yeah. How similar it feels to the judge program, except for just, shooting people on the street, execution style as a sentence, and like wanton destruction of property and stuff like that. Most of this felt really similar to anything you would see in the news today. Yeah. Cops just busting in people's houses.
Yep. Busting in. They might not be laying down the law, but a lot of them just execute people. Yeah. And there's a lot of stories where this person didn't deserve it. Like they were minding their own business or they were in their own home. There's so many stories where this is kind of happening and turning into this rule of law.
And you have judges throwing rounds like mad. You have criminals throwing rounds like mad. Bullets travel through things. Yeah. Anybody living close to any of these places is liable to be dead. Like it's a pretty crazy place to live.
Yeah, I couldn't imagine. Just me being claustrophobic, I couldn't live in any environment like this.
Oh my goodness,
I would just flip out. So we're in a turf war.
Yeah, full blown turf war.
Hershey pulls up. It's just Judge Hershey with her rookie, who's just fresh out of the academy, first day in the action. Let's just say he probably should have stayed in the academy a little bit longer.
Just a touch. Yeah,
they're just cowering behind and
there's rounds going off all the way around them. You can hear bullets pinging off the stuff around them. So they take cover behind their cruisers.
Yeah, like normal people. Yeah. And also, you see people dying on the street being shot by these people up on top.
Yeah. And then Dredd pulls up.
Superman. Yeah. Dredd. And it's just like, why y'all cowering like bitches? This gunfire can't possibly kill you.
He literally says, that weapon only has an effective range of 200 meters. We are at 300 meters. I'm just like, no, you're not. No. That window is not that far up. That building would be fucking massive.
What kind of ammunition loses effectiveness after 200 meters?
I mean, it loses accuracy, but even small rounds can kill you at a couple of football fields.
Easy. Yeah. 300 meters?
We're talking 3 football fields.
3 football fields, yeah.
Yeah, these rounds can still put you in the ground.
Oh, yes. Yeah. They're still lethal, but maybe not the Dredd.
Well, it's just because Dredd has plot armor.
He does.
Just the sheer determination and power of retardation.
The Judge outfits.
His outfit is ridiculous.
They are very ridiculous. The original comics came out in like the 70s.
Yeah.
So I'm sure a lot of these designs and interests were probably coming off of Star Wars.
Yeah.
There's a lot of Star Wars feel in a lot of these action sequences and set designs too.
Yeah. The costumes of the other troopers.
Yeah.
They're straight up death troopers in this.
The Dark Troopers.
The Dark Troopers. His outfit is just amazing. Essentially, he's wearing spandex with shoulder pads, a helmet, and a codpiece that would make Master Chief envious. Like,
later on, that codpiece, it's more important than you think. Because without it, that spandex is pretty revealing.
Yeah. It's absolutely absurd. So the law pulls up.
Blows the doors open.
No, before that, he's just standing in the middle of the street like a crazy dude.
Oh, yeah.
Going, citizens, throw down your weapons and shit like that.
So the judges have the law to actually just gas entire community blocks. They'll just put a whole block asleep and then deal with them later. They go in and get the criminals. He could have just gassed all these guys, knocked them all out, and then dealt with them. But that's not his fun.
Yeah, that's not his style.
No one wants to see that.
Rampant murder is his style.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
We got to get some action in. We got to impress Hershey over there.
Oh, my God.
So he blows the door up, charges in, starts murdering people.
Yep.
This gun is...
Yeah, the Lawbringer.
The Lawbringers, yeah, the guns they use is specific to each judge.
Ridiculous.
Yeah, you just tell it what rounds you want, and it just magically...
He's like, grenade, flare. And it's just like, that's the round. He might as well be going, non-lethals, dildo, and just splatting them in the face.
Double whammy.
Double whammy.
It's so stupid. Oh, but it's great. It's so stupid. It's awesome.
Oh my God.
And then, of course, he kills a few people. And the rookie's like, well, shit. Yeah, me next, bro. And
when do I get to knock off some doors and murder people? Yeah.
He didn't have his plot armor on. Just immediately dies. So, yeah, you see Dredd going through all of his different ammunition types, which I'm guessing he could just say anything and it would just shoot something magical.
Ice cream cones.
Fruit Loops.
Oh, my God. Yeah, man, he blows the store off the hinges. He goes up there. The rookie cop gets killed, and he wastes everybody in the apartment except the one guy who started it all. And he's sitting there going through this list of crimes with him. 5 years, 20 years, murdering a law officer.
Let me guess. Life. Nope.
Death. How do you plead? Not guilty. I knew you would say that.
Oh, great. His catchphrase for this movie, I knew you'd say that. It's just...
Of course he fucking knew they were going to say it. It's in the script.
I think the best part is just the other characters that he interacts with.
Yeah.
Making fun of his character in the movie.
Yeah.
Where they start mocking him.
Yeah, they really are. He is that one asshole employee that as soon as they walk away, everybody else talks shit about.
Yeah. Even Hershey.
Yeah.
Who likes them. It's just like, I knew you'd say that. They're right behind his back. After he murders everyone in the room and the rookie's dead, he captures Rob Schneider.
Oh my God.
A.K.A. Ferguson Herman.
Ooh.
Fergie. Who's just hiding in this machine. Go up, you're tampering with property.
Yeah.
Public property.
He was hiding out from this fucking massive gunfight going on.
6 months, bitch. Actually, no. He was in for 6 months. And he gives him 5 years.
5 years.
Because he's already had a
because it was his first day out.
Yep.
His first day out, he got caught in a fucking block war. Everybody around him was dying, so he hid in essentially an R2 unit.
He literally told them, well, your only legal option was to jump out of a window and die.
Yeah. Yeah, you could have jumped out the window. I would have died. It's not illegal.
Hershey has this conversation with him. Pretty much, He's an emotionless robot. Even after this rookie died, it was Hershey's rookie. She's supposed to watch out for him. He's dead.
Yeah, and Dredd could care less.
Yeah.
He does say something smart-ass about this rookie dying.
He tells Hershey, he's like, oh, it's not your fault, Hershey. It's the rookie's fault.
Yeah.
Well, he's dead.
It kind of is her fault. It kind of is all their fault. They're the ranking officers. They're the trainers. And there were non-lethal ways to do this.
Yeah.
But they said, no, murder is the key.
But you know what? My life's a dime a dozen.
Just another one for the recycle plant.
We meet Chief Justice Fargo. Dredd has a conversation with him, and he pretty much just wants Dredd to go back to the academy.
Because he realized he's putting a sociopath on the street and tells him he needs to go take ethics classes.
No, he needs to teach ethics
Maybe
classes.
He'll fucking learn some ethics. He's a mindless drone.
Yeah, he is kind of a mindless drone.
He can't fight his own programming.
Well, to be fair, this is pretty much the way the system's designed. In this future, they actually have sleeping pods that enhance sleep to where you only have to sleep 10 minutes a day and get your full 8 hours.
Yeah, but nobody has a job. Why? What does it matter? He does.
Normal people wouldn't have this. I'm sure only like judges and maybe some rich people.
Yeah.
Because no one's going to
Because they're understaffed. They got to be out there 24/7.
Yeah. They're just working these judges probably 20 hours a day at least.
Yeah. They're working them like droids.
Yeah.
They're battle droids.
They're pretty much. Which, at this point, most robots are, I think, outlawed because there wasn't a robot outrising at one point. But,
oh, my goodness. They're talking about the stupidest crap in the academy, too. He shoots the gun. He's like, if you pass training, this could be yours. And he shoots the armor. And he's like, if you pass training, this armor could be yours. And he goes over to the motorcycle. It doesn't fucking work. And he's just like, if you can figure out how to make this run, this could be yours. But they all run. That is apparently the only one in the city that doesn't run, because everybody else is flying around on speeder bikes later on.
You see him randomly start malfunctioning during the chase scene.
His does.
No, one of the other ones malfunctions too.
I thought Rob Schneider shot it.
No, he shot his. He shot the muffler off of their speeder,
and it hit the other.
And it hit the other one, and it started malfunctioning.
Yeah,
yeah, because it started malfunctioning. But
everybody else's speeder bike worked. And this was straight up. That was a Return of the Jedi speeder chase.
Oh yeah, 100%. All the chase scenes.
He's showing off all this ridiculous ass equipment.
You kind of see what the judges' lives are, and like what these kids are gonna, agree to. You're gonna work 20 plus hours a day, and for your entire life. And if you live,
you're gonna stack bodies.
Somehow, if you live at the end of it, you get old enough to where you can't work anymore. They ship you out the fucking city, and you go out and walk the cursed earth, applying justice to mutants and heathens.
Yes.
What the fuck?
Why would I ever want to be a judge?
No. Who would ever sign up for this?
No.
I guess the only difference is you probably get an actual education and can read.
I guess you're trading like 70 years of your life as having a decent life. Mm-hmm. And then you're agreeing to the contract, I'm just going to die at 70. That's just the way it is. No extreme old age for me.
It's a rough system.
Yeah.
To say the least. After the academy scene, we cut over to Aspen.
Oh, the penal colony, yes.
Yeah, it's their main prison. Mm-hmm. And the way the prisons work, whatever sentence you get, 6 months, a year, 5, 10 years.
Yep.
They throw you in a box. You literally just stand in a box.
All day, all night.
There's a bed.
No concept of the passage of time. These people should be certifiably insane when they come out. I don't care 100%. What the sentence length is.
They don't let them out for anything. Mm-mm. You don't get any yard time.
Nope.
You think you got it bad now. Wait till you get shoved in the box for fucking 5 years for trying to save your life.
You would absolutely go insane.
We meet Rico Dredd.
Yep.
Which we don't know at the time. That is Dredd's brother. Oh, spoilers.
Yeah. Spoiler alert. If you haven't watched it by now.
Yeah. So Enrico has this special prison. He's straight up like Magneto.
Yeah.
Like on a walkway and a force field out in this floating area, effectively.
Right, because that makes it easier for him to escape.
The security system set up is so fucking stupid. So the warden walks in, and the guns are like automatically activated, and he has to turn them off or deactivate them with voice. This is well into the future.
Yeah.
Where they can just scan and tell who it is.
These things should have GoPros on them.
Yeah.
At least, yeah.
Oh, 100%. And not just be voice activated. He has this box and also has a picture in it of who he's supposed to go kill, which is the reporter. This box turns into a gun and he shoots the warden's throat. And instead of just shooting the guy with the guns are like, hey, we don't understand this voice anymore. Are you the warden at all? It just murders the warden and just deactivates, apparently. Because the next scene when the stormtroopers are walking
these
in,
miniguns would have tore up everything in the room.
Oh, yeah. Rico's, there's
Swiss
no reason.
cheese, man.
Even if he jumps underneath, I'm sure there's contingency plans for him going underneath the walkway. Oh, no, the guns just deactivate.
So here's the thing. The warden would have been dead anyways.
Yeah.
He shot him through the front of the throat, out the back of his neck. He would have immediately collapsed and just died. He would have bled out in seconds. The miniguns, they're useless. They're absolutely useless.
So the miniguns would only have to be able to shoot things on the walkway.
Right.
And not where his cell's at. So then he goes underneath and they just deactivate for some reason because the stormtroopers walk in.
Yeah, for
they're
no reason.
deactivated.
Yeah.
He hops up, knocks one off, grabs its gun, which the Dredd guns, the enforcers, they're all DNA coded. So if anyone picks up one of their guns, it kills them, it electrocutes them. So the stormtroopers' weapons, you'd think that they would also be encoded to only they can use it.
Yeah, they definitely should be. Even in a modern military today, all the weapons are standardized, right? It should be the same thing here.
You think that it would be even more important for these guys to have their guns where...
Yeah, especially...
They can't be taken away from them and used.
Yeah, especially in a penal colony. You wouldn't want an inmate just being able to randomly pick up a guard's gun and bust everybody out. Yeah, it's stupid. And after murdering these guards, he breaks out in a body bag. Like they're not going to fucking check it.
No. Yeah, I don't know if he slides himself into a body bag. I'm guessing he just plays dead. Someone puts him in a body bag.
Yeah, he just plays dead like, this guy doesn't have any gunshot wounds on him at all. He must have just died of fear. Send him to the recycling plant.
He murders the guy picking up the bodies or whatever, and then takes off.
Yeah.
Back in the city. And he goes to this shop. He has a box left for him there with his old Dredd suit. And there's also a robot. The ABC robot, right?
This thing was stupid.
Cutting edge technology, this thing.
They really wanted this thing to look like a Terminator.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my God. They wanted it. They wanted it real bad.
This is not the best.
It's big and bulky like everything else in this movie. It is not a Terminator.
But just crossing a couple wires. He rewires it.
He melts the board.
Yeah. Like smoke starts rolling up.
Yep.
Reprogrammed.
No wonder the robot's lost. Yeah, he gets his gear from this pawn shop. He gets the Murderbot 3000. And then he goes on his merry way of murdering people.
He goes and he kills a reporter.
Yeah, he busts into the reporter's house. They have security cameras the size of bazookas in this world because it's the 90s.
Yeah, that's so brand new technology.
Brand new.
All the TVs hanging up are like old CRT TVs.
Yep.
Because that's what they would use in the future.
That's exactly what they use. In Dredd's trial, they're just like, we can't use this film because it's so shitty we can't confirm if it's Dredd or not. Yeah, the premise is to go kill this reporter who is trying to do an expose on the judges and Dredd and stuff like that.
You find out that he actually uncovered the Janus Project, which is the project that created Judge Dredd and Rico.
He found out
Joseph Dredd
that they were making clones on Camino, and he had to be silenced. So Darth Sidious took care of it. I don't know, man. You remember when I said I liked this movie when we started? I'm really starting to not like this movie anymore.
It just has a lot of Star Wars ties, that's all.
It does. They owe George Lucas some money.
But then Marvel owes them money?
Yeah. When you take Marvel's money and hand it to George Lucas.
So that means Lucas would have to give the money back to Marvel.
Oh, my brain hurts. Oh, God. The mouse owns everything. Make it stop.
I think what it comes down to is fuck DC.
Fuck DC.
Fuck DC.
But you know what? This is probably the best DC film I've ever seen.
That's not true.
Like, Batman Begins was good until it got stupid. Dark Knight was better.
Dark Knight was amazing.
This is right up there with Dark Knight.
No.
Yes.
Dark Knight's so much better than that.
No, it's not.
What?
No, it's not.
I don't even know you anymore.
This is right up there with Dark Knight. Think of what else we got from DC besides this. This is better than Aquaman. I fucking love this a lot more than I loved Aquaman.
I thought Aquaman wasn't that bad.
I love this. Well, sorry, Wonder Woman. I love this more than 1984.
Well, yeah, but
So,
not the first Wonder Woman.
Fine. It goes, let's see, The Dark Knight, Wonder Woman, and then this. Those are the only 3 good DC films.
Suicide Squad was pretty good.
This was better than Suicide Squad.
Really?
Yes,
Okay.
This was much better than Suicide Squad.
You still haven't seen Birds of Prey.
I haven't seen Birds of Prey,
better.
but something tells me that this is better than Birds of Prey.
No.
I think so, man. I think so. See, that's why DC's having such a struggle. They cracked the code the first time with Dredd, and then you're just like, we can't live up to this.
Fucking crack any code.
What would you prefer, this or Jonah Hex? This is way better than Jonah Hex.
I mean, I'll give you that.
Yeah, I like this better than Superman.
Which one?
Any of them.
Any of them?
Any of them.
Man of Steel?
Whoa, walk me into a tornado. I would rather not watch Man of Steel ever again.
I like the action sequences. I thought they were good.
Yeah. I like bras and Waffle House and IHOP or whatever the hell it was, too.
Hell yeah. I felt like Man of Steel is the closest I'm ever going to get to a live-action DBZ movie
Anyways.
that wasn't awful.
All right. So the bad guy kills a reporter to cover up the government's ties to a cloning project on Camino. And
No, you can't say that because everyone's going to get confused. Camino doesn't exist in this world.
I'm sorry, this is the assassination attempt on Padme on Coruscant.
No.
Damn it.
This is Star Wars. They had a clone program around 2039, I think.
Well, in this movie, they say, what, like they started this like 20 years ago?
Yeah.
Because we're going off the movie timeline for this.
Okay. So it would be...
So they said something like 20-ish years ago, they sampled all the...
I'm sorry, it was actually 2071. It was the year after or before the nuclear war.
Yeah.
Is when this started, actually.
Yeah.
Which is kind of close. That's probably when the program started. They didn't make his clone until in 69.
He's probably only about 10 years old.
No, actually,
he's still a child.
Well, no, he's 30.
No, it can't be.
He's 30
because they said in the movie that they started this project around 20 years ago when they took a sample of DNA from all the justices, right?
Mm-hmm.
To try to find the perfect DNA sample, and then they used the Supreme Justice's DNA to make Joseph and Rico.
Yep.
Right? And they said that was about 20 or so years ago when they started this project. And they said in the movie that the technology they used back then, it would take 8 years to grow a clone to maturity. And they didn't have that kind of time for whatever they were dealing with right then. So whenever the bad guy wanted to restart the clone program. So if it takes about 7 or 8 years to grow a clone to maturity, and it was about 20 years ago when they started the project and sampling, then with research and development and stuff like that, it was probably another 3 or 4 years, maybe 5 years of research and development to actually refine the DNA to get what they wanted. I would think in the film timeline, man, he could only be pushing maybe 15 years old at the most.
If you go like that, but he was actually cloned in 2069, so he would have been 30 years old.
Yeah.
Which, at this point, he's been on the street for a while.
Yeah.
And he went through the academy with Rico, and he judged him. Rico's been in prison for a while now, for like 10 years or something.
I guess Rico's inhibitor chip didn't work, and he got the Order 66 order a little early.
Maybe he just has a bad motivator.
He has a bad motivator.
So, they said that Rico mutated. He mutated into the perfect criminal. Sylvester Stallone mutated into the perfect lawman, I guess.
No, he didn't.
the perfect emotionless killing machine. He gets arrested.
Yeah, he gets arrested for this murder.
They have the trial, and you find out that all the bullets are DNA encoded to the judge that shoots a gun, which Rico shot it. They have the same DNA.
Right.
He gets set up. Judge Griffin of the Council of Five convinces Fargo to resign and use his last will.
Yeah.
He can.
You get one last request before you go out in the ways to commit suicide.
Yep. And he was like, well, just don't murder him. So they send him to life sentence, which might as well be murder.
Yeah, life sentence in a box.
And he goes on his walk, which the whole point, Griffin talks him into this because A, okay, he's saving Dredd.
Yeah.
And B, they're trying to cover up the Janus Project, which you'd think him just abruptly resigning and giving everything up and then going on pretty much a death
that's not
sentence
suspicious at all.
Isn't? Yeah, that definitely would make me more suspicious of why he would do that.
Yeah.
So then Dredd is arrested. They're on this transit plane.
Yeah.
You meet the Angel family.
Yeah.
These mutant hillbilly rejects that live in the wasteland. They shoot down the plane, and while this plane is crashing, it fucking explodes.
Yes.
And then somehow 4 people live. I have no idea how.
Yeah, there would have been no survivors. Technically, there weren't any survivors.
No. So Rob Schneider, Fergie, and Dredd live. I love that Fergie can tell who Dredd is by just looking at his mouth, which you see all these superheroes that wear masks. People would still recognize you. Of course, he just looks at the bottom half of his face and is like, you're fucking Dredd, right? Which instantly everyone around him wants to murder him now.
Oh, yeah. This is their only chance before they go live in a cube for the rest of their life.
The reason they're here is because of him.
The Angel family is wasteland mutants. They have a son that is a cyborg. He literally has an off and on switch.
Yeah. But you know what? I thought his prosthetics were actually really well. He looked really good.
He looked good.
Yeah.
I wish everything else in the movie could look more like him. He looked, he looked good. The robot looked stupid. The motorcycles look stupid. The stormtrooper armor looks stupid. The guns look horrible. The guns look like you took Christmas wrapping paper rolls and just put handles on them and said it's a gun.
That's probably how they made them, actually.
They just look like big tubes.
Well, this is the stormtrooper guns, right?
Yeah. He looked surprisingly good. He was a very convincing cyborg.
Rob Schneider, when they're on the plane, he actually, again, this is the person around Dredd who's mocking him.
Yes.
His own voice. He does a good job, too. Oh, no. Making fun of him. And he actually makes Dredd, malfunction mentally. Dredd's like, oh, the law doesn't make mistakes. Like, well, how do you explain why you're here?
This is where you start seeing the first signs of the cracks in Dredd's programming.
Yeah.
Okay? So from here on out in the movie, for me, you remember watching the first season of Westworld? And how when robots saw something they wasn't supposed to see, they would just say, well, it looks like nothing to me. Fucking Dredd does that. Every time that he sees something or interacts in a way that's outside of his programming, he gets this deadpan stare and then just goes about his day
Well, he's starting to learn that everything's not so black and white. There's a gray in the middle. And that he's going to have to break some laws to fix everything.
But he can't because his programming won't let him.
But he does.
Not really.
Kinda.
Not really. When you think about what their laws are, it's not breaking the law if he goes around and murders people because to him, he's still a judge.
He is murdering other law officials. They're not street level judges, but they are judges. Later on in the movie, he is murdering the Dark Stormtroopers.
Yeah.
Just because they're trying to arrest this guy who they think barged in and murdered, who was already sentenced and then shows up and then the council's dead.
Yeah.
And he's murdering and doing one-liners like, yeah, take that, scumbag. These are fucking fellow judges.
Yeah. They're officers. The thing is when you think about it as Dredd is not exceptional, that Dredd is just normal, then all these other judges would just be as fanatical as him, right? So, yeah, they're not bad guys.
No.
They're enforcing the law. And he's just wantonly murdering them.
So, I mean, there is that gray line. But in his mind, these are all bad guys. They're trying to stop me from doing justice.
Yeah.
I guess that's how he sees it, but they're just doing their job.
Mm-hmm.
We'll get to that chase scene. But so he gets in a scrap. I guess they don't like religious people.
They pretend to be religious, but when you pretend to be religious, it's time for you to get eaten.
Yeah. It upsets them.
Yeah, it upsets them.
Praise Jesus.
Yep. They take Fergie down. Fergalicious. And Dredd's like, you're making a mistake. I don't see how it's a mistake. I'm down here. You're up there. Suck it. He's like, they're cannibals. Please don't eat me.
So he jumps down, murders 2 of them, and then knocks out the big guy.
He literally turns him off.
Turns him off.
Yeah, he flips the switch and turns him off. Later in this whole fight scene, he picks up one of their weapons and dark troopers run in.
The father is slow motion charging him with the spear for like at least 10 seconds.
This
all
is
across
like,
the room.
Yeah, it's like Austin Powers. Yeah.
And,
Zamboni, right?
Zamboni. Yeah. It was the steam.
No, it's Deadpool in the Zamboni.
Yeah, the Deadpool does Zamboni. Yeah. Austin Powers was the... Just move! Just get out of the way! It was the steamroller.
Yeah.
And then the dark troopers show up and shoot him because he's moving in slow motion. Then he kills them.
Yeah, he kills all the dark troopers. One dark trooper was about to get the drop on him, and Supreme Justice Fargo just walks in the door and blows that guy's guts out.
Yep.
And then he gets immediately stabbed by the cyborg son, who we clearly watched get turned off.
Well, he has a backup system that he turns on after a few minutes. I don't know, man. You think that they would not have any way for him to turn himself back on?
Yeah, I think that. I think that. Because if I had a cyborg murder machine, I would rather just turn it off when it's malfunctioning. He ain't no son of mine.
Don't say that, Paul.
You killed my brother, and you killed my Paul. Strike 3.
No. So he beats up the robot. Actually, the robot gets stuck. He feeds a one-liner of illegal use of city electricity.
Oh, God.
And it sentences him to death. How is he using city electricity?
It's a long extension cord.
Yeah.
It's a very long extension cord. It has to be very close to the city.
Yeah, they're not that far away.
Justice Fargo, he had only been walking through the waste, what, a day, maybe? So that had been within a day's walk through a nuclear wasteland, which has got to be slower than your average walk.
Might be faster. There's nothing stopping you. Fargo tells Dredd about Rico and that they're brothers.
Yeah, as he's dying forever.
His death sequence.
He had to explain the entire story.
Dredd just randomly jumps to the conclusion that, oh, Rico's alive. That's the only way that I could have been set up. And Fargo's like, well, if Rico's alive, that means Griffith set us up because he was the one that signed Rico's death certificate or something like that.
Yeah.
Those are the bad guys. We know who to go kill now.
Right.
We got a mission again. So they go back and break in, of course, Snyder, his sidekick now.
Yeah. So they have to run through the fire tunnel.
Yeah.
And Dredd's like, yeah, 2 people tried to run through it. The concept was sound. Did they make it? No, they got roasted. When I watched them run through this tunnel, I'm just like, how do these other people not fucking get through this tunnel? They screwed around in it forever.
They did. And it wasn't that long of a tunnel. But the difference is, they had a gun. They had a gun and they shot that grate open.
Did they shoot a grate open? I thought it just fell out from under.
No, Dredd shoots the grate open and then they jump in. Oh. That's the difference. So they probably made it to the end and it was like, what do we do now? And then just fucking got roasted.
So they break back in.
They go to the headquarters first.
Right.
By this point, Rico started murdering judges.
Yeah, to try to force the other justices into opening the Janus files so they can clone more judges.
Yeah. Griffith's whole driving force is to just instrict more laws. Even make it worse of a dictatorship than it already is.
He wants to give death penalties for jaywalking.
Yeah. Like, oh, you littered? You might as well just kill him.
Right.
He's murdered a bunch of judges. Hershey says it's 108 judges in 48 hours or something like that. So he goes in, sneaks into the academy, and while he's there, Griffith gets them to agree to unlock the Janus files. Yeah. And we find out that they can make clones in 8 hours.
Right.
Just start crapping out judges.
Yeah, more dreads.
Rico comes in. The council's like, this is awful. We can't do this.
Could you imagine an army of dreads out there arguing with each other about what the law is?
That'd be awful. It would be bad.
I am the law. No, I am the law.
I think it'd be kind of like equivalent to watching a Senate hearing right now.
Oh, God.
It wouldn't be that much different.
I think an entire army of dreads would be completely ineffective. They would just stand there monologuing, reading what your criminal acts were, and you just mow them all down.
They would just kill each other and be like, take that, scumbag.
I knew you would say that.
I knew you'd say that. So Rico comes in, kills all the judges.
Yep.
And then Griffith blames it on Dredd.
Right.
He tries to stop him, but he's too late. They bust out and you get this awesome Star Wars speeder sequence.
Oh my goodness. The speeder bike chase.
The whole chase scene, you can tell when they're flying over the populace, it's like sped up. The people are walking really fast.
Yeah.
Because these things move so slow.
They didn't know how to do the effects. So even when the bikes are not flying through the air, they have to speed up the film like this. The bikes have got to be mopeds. And they have so much weight, so much tons of just prosthetics on these bikes that they can't move. They can't go fast enough to get out of their own way.
They look great, though.
They look good, but it's like they have lawnmower engines in them. They can't go anywhere.
They don't function very well.
No, not at all. You get out and walk as fast as these bikes go.
But that's not as cool.
That's why they have to speed up the film.
They can fly. You can't walk up.
Yeah, they don't know how to do the speeder bike effects, so they...
That's what... They get in this chase scene, and Dredd hands Rob Schneider the fucking shotgun.
Right.
And he's like, shoot it. I'm like, I've never done that. And
he's like, lay down cover fire. He's like, I've never held a gun.
He shoots the muffler off their bike, and it hits this other bike, and it just starts malfunctioning and crashes. So this chase scene, they're just blowing everything up. All these rounds are explosive incendiary rounds, apparently.
Right.
Because they're just spamming building sides, and everything that hits explodes.
They're not shooting regular bullets. They're pew-pewing.
They're just going throughout this whole city block, just murdering thousands of people, I'm sure.
What really upset me was the hologram sign they flew through.
Yeah.
Was physical.
Yeah.
It was real.
I was like, who would design a sign like that where it open and close and just turn into an electric grid?
Yeah, it's just light.
Nope.
No,
it was an electric grid. And that guy got fried. One flew into a liquor store, and it blew up. And there's people in there.
Yeah.
He's murdering hundreds and hundreds of people.
Dude. There's so many people packing the streets and stuff like that. If one of these bikes fall out of the air, the collateral damage is catastrophic.
And that's not even mentioned. Like, they're just shooting every building up.
Yeah, they're lighting everything up. Yeah. And they shoot like stormtroopers too, man.
Oh, yeah. They miss every shot.
Yes.
And he's just murdering all these guys and just like, take that, scumbag.
Yeah. He literally jumps off of his bike onto one of their bikes and throws this guy to his death, who is just an officer of the law doing his job. And he delivers the, eat shit, scumbag thing. And then
take that, doucher.
Yeah. And then Rob Schneider's bike is about to crash into a building full of people because these people live in shoeboxes.
He doesn't stop it. Yeah, he just pulls Rob Schneider off.
Pulls Rob Schneider off. Screw all those people we just murdered by crashing this bike into a building.
These people don't matter. Most of them can't even read. They're lemmings.
Oh, jeez. After this wonderful chase scene,
then
we go pick up Judge Hershey.
Yeah.
Who's just cool with this fugitive in her house.
Well, she freaks out at first.
Yeah, but not really.
No, she's like, who the fuck are you? She finds an old picture. She has her CGI specialist buddy cut out everything that wasn't real.
Yeah, which is stupid.
Which shows the background for the lab that he's in.
That's not how this works.
No, if you remove the foreground and background, you see the real picture and how it was taken.
They wouldn't do that. Even if you've only used Microsoft Paint, you would just cut out around the baby.
And paste it. Nope.
And Photoshop it in.
He's in a lab.
Nope.
That's the future of Microsoft Paint.
Oh my god. This movie makes my brain hurt.
It's just I like the technology.
Movie.
It was not there. That's the only thing. If they took
Right.
the tech they have now, like from a Marvel film, this would be great.
Dude, yeah.
Yeah, it'd be
We're
great.
getting standing ovations.
Amp up the story a little bit.
Yeah, this is definitely better than Ant-Man.
So they did make another Dredd movie.
Yeah, the reboot.
Came out like around 2010.
Yeah, it
Something like
had
that?
Carl Urban in it.
I'm pretty positive that movie was actually supposed to be an Americanized version of The Raid.
It was.
They took The Raid and was like, well, let's just throw Judge Dredd in there. That way people will be like, oh, there's an icon. Give them a reason to go see it instead of just this random movie. That was fucking amazing. The Raid was just one of the best action movies I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah.
It did throw in Dredd and didn't have this really bad plot. That Dredd movie, don't watch it. Go watch The Raid. Watch Raid 1 and 2. It's fucking great.
I would argue don't even watch that. Watch Judge Dredd. This movie had everything.
Not everything.
Yeah?
Well, it didn't have any sex scenes.
I mean, because he's a child.
No. He's
Can't.
30. Mentally, maybe he's a child. Rico. The Asian chick calls Rico a child. The final scene is when they're up in the lab. Rico's creating these clones.
Yeah.
And
He substituted his own DNA in place of Joseph Dredd's DNA. Just the name Dredd. They're clones. They could have literally named them anything they wanted.
they named them Dredd because they wanted to instill fear in the pops.
That's stupid.
All right. I'm sorry. If Judge Newton was coming to town, and you'd be like, oh, fuck Judge Newton. That's not very scary.
Well.
But Judge Dredd? You're getting the fuck out of town.
I'm just saying, like, they literally could have named them anything to make them not seem cartoonishly whatever.
All the names are cartoonish. Hershey? Rico?
I guess what I'm saying is...
Argo?
You wanted these guys to blend in and not everybody realize there's something wrong with them.
No, they wanted these to be the perfect specimen.
Right. But you don't want them to stand out like a sore thumb. The name Dredd stands out like a sore thumb.
I think it's an awesome
It doesn't take much ancestry look up in our future computer city to realize that Dredd is not a surname for anybody else ever that has lived in the city.
2031 rolls around, I might change my last name to Dredd. Fuck it.
We're going to change our names to Dredd?
Yeah.
Oh, God. I don't know. It's odd. I feel like they should have named them something besides Dredd.
They go to the lab, which Griffin walks in and is like, what have you done? You're a monster. I'm going to take you out. Rico has the ABC robot rip him apart, which, as a child, I don't know why, but this scene always caught my interest because he tells him, rip his arms and legs off and then save his head for last.
Right.
This robot doesn't have multiple arms, so it just has the 2 arms.
Right.
If you rip both his arms off,
We can't rip both his arms off
at the
once.
same time.
He literally should be grabbing his torso
and then
ripping off appendages one by one.
Yeah, but he has both his arms, and it shows blood splattering, but he doesn't fall. The physics doesn't ever make sense to me. Even as a child, I was like, if he ripped both his arms off, he would fall to the ground. Or you'd think one arm would fall off or come off before the other arm, and then he'd still have that one. And then
would be dangling through the
and then when he grab him and start ripping the legs off, how would a murder robot best rip a man's arms and legs off? Because you can't do them all together like he wants. Maybe I had a different childhood than other people.
I gotta be honest with you, I didn't conceive of the ways a murder robot might
Every time I watch this
draw
movie,
and quarter me.
every time I watch this movie my entire life, I always think that of that scene. How is he ripping his arms and legs off?
Movie magic. The same way this fucking robot walks.
Yeah.
Movie
They
magic.
push it.
They put there's somebody right off the camera pushing this thing.
It never
with a
shows it
trolley.
walking. It always shows it from a side view.
Yeah.
Where it's just being rolled. So then they come in, the robot. It unleashes a volley of bullets.
Machine gun fire.
That murders a bunch of Dredds earlier, but it only shoots Rob Schneider once in the stomach.
Yeah.
Of course, he's fine.
He's got plot armor. It's not as strong as Dredd's.
Yeah.
But it's strong enough to keep him just barely alive.
It's comedic relief plot armor that,
Yeah.
he can sit there and throw out some one-liners before it's over. Rob Schneider has some decent lines. He's either making fun of Dredd or when he fall out of the chute and he's like, oh, you're still alive. It's just stuff that makes you chuckle, right?
I would argue everything Rob Schneider is only bad in this movie when he's delivering one-liners.
But that's the only reason he's in the movie.
The one-liners where he's mocking Dredd, because everybody does that.
Mm-hmm.
When he's doing what everybody does when he's mocking Dredd, that's fine.
Yeah. But
the stupid, we wrote this line because we thought it was funny in the writing room, they don't know what the fuck is funny. They don't. His one-liners are not funny.
It's a 90s action movie. Anything you could say would be funny.
No. No.
Allah!
Rob Schneider's one-liners were so bad, I felt like they should have a fucking laugh track behind them, so you know it's the joke.
But that's not Schneider's fault.
Yeah, it's writing, yeah. It's bad writing.
Which, to be fair, this character could literally not exist in the movie and it would change. Nothing would change about the whole movie. They capture Hershey and Rob's shot. Dredd goes in there, starts talking, and Rico's monologuing, doing his villain monologue.
Yeah.
About
literally, The Incredibles made fun of
this. About how he's going to make all these clones that are going to be pretty much mentally insane, but you're going to control them. And he wants Dredd to be the justice over all of it.
Maybe Dredd should have just said yeah.
That would have really been interesting.
Because it really takes into the notion of nature versus nurture, right?
Mm-hmm. But they don't dispense law like Dredd thinks he does. Even though he murders people.
They dispense law how Dredd actually does.
Yeah. They're a lot more similar than Dredd thinks.
Yes.
He calls in the robot to murder Hershey, rip her apart or whatever. And,
right.
And then Rob Schneider, I'm sorry, this is the one scene that matters with him.
Yes.
He takes out the robot by like pulling a couple wires off, jumping on his back.
He jumps on his back and starts ripping wires out.
Rips out like 2 wires out, and the thing just malfunctions and falls over.
Mm-hmm.
And they get in a big fight sequence, and these clones are at like 60% production. And he's like, pull them out. And they're horrifying.
Yes.
There's a lot of like random jump scares in this movie that don't make any sense.
Yeah. Yeah, it feels like a different movie there for a second.
Yeah, like when the clone opens their eyes.
The vat tubes start opening up and they start raising up out of the tubes and crap like that.
It almost feels like a horror movie, that scene. Oh, they'll all die. Whatever. They don't matter.
Yeah. They don't even get to fight.
You think a couple of them got away.
Yeah, that's for Judge Dredd, too. It's like Godzilla 98, when one baby Godzilla makes it out.
Yeah.
Yeah, we never got that movie.
Oh, that would have been a good movie. In the comics, Rico actually has a daughter.
He does?
Yeah. Vienna.
Vienna?
Vienna.
Like the sausage?
Yeah, like a Vienna sausage.
That's amazing. These names, dude.
Oh, they're great. So, yeah, Hershey gets in a fight with the Asian doctor.
Yeah.
Who knows Kung Fu because she's Asian. She just automatically knows Kung Fu.
Right, they all do.
Yeah.
She's a doctor because they're good at math.
Yeah.
I didn't know if you know that or not.
I didn't.
Oh, well, they are. They're incredible at math. Well, she's the ethnic diversity casting in this movie. She's the only not white person.
I think you're right.
Yeah.
Rico feeds her one line and she's just automatically like, oh, I'm a villain now.
She turns for no reason.
Yeah.
He's introduced to her and like, this is the doctor who headed this project.
She's the one that's been keeping her alive this whole time.
Right.
And then Rico's like, you know, he put me in a cell and that's why I have to listen to him. But why do you have to listen to him? She's just like, well, I'm guessing I'm a bad guy now. You're right. Let's go make some evil clones.
For no reason whatsoever. She's the only.
You know what? She's bad.
Bad guy. So Judge Hershey has somebody to fight that's a woman, so they can have a girl fight.
You gotta have a girl fight.
That's it. That's all.
You know why she's bad?
Why?
And it's the same reason that Dredd has no remorse killing all those Dark Troopers. It's because they're wearing black,
right?
And everyone knows
if you wear black, you're a bad guy.
If you wear black, you're a bad guy. Yeah. In the 90s, that's probably a true statement. I bet you if you watch any movie in the 90s, anyone wearing black, bad guy.
Bad guy. Yeah.
Unless Steven Seagal.
Unless it's Steven Seagal.
But he can get away
He's only wearing black because he's fat.
Yeah. He's trying to hide his lines.
He's trying to hide his curves. Yeah, they have the Asian woman be a evil kung fu master so that Hershey has somebody to fight and they can have a girl fight. Because I guess all these movies need a woman fight.
It wasn't really much of a fight. Even Rico, their fight really wasn't much of anything.
Yeah, not at all.
He pretty much chases them and pulls them off the speeder.
Yeah, Rico's going to try to get away on the speeder. Dredd rips him off. And they trade a couple punches, and then Dredd kind of falls over the edge.
Which, it's almost like Rico knows that he can't stand against Dredd one-on-one.
Right. Well, that's the bad guys, though.
Yeah.
That's classic bad guy.
You're never going to compete with the hero.
Right. The bad guys aren't supposed to be more powerful than the hero. They're supposed to be more numerous.
It would have been better if these clones popped out and you had to fight these clones.
Yeah. If they had an actual clone fight, that would have been amazing. But no, they couldn't afford it. The same reason they couldn't afford to put legs on the fucking robot. So
Marvel could put legs on the robot.
Yeah, Marvel would have put legs on the robot. Marvel would have had all these clones CGI'd up, and then Dredd been punching clones.
Oh, great. So yeah, of course, Dredd's on the ledge, and like Rico's about to shoot him.
Right.
And he grabs like the gun's out of ammo.
Yeah.
Of certain ammo, the normal ammo. So Dredd grabs it and like shoots a flare. The flare does it.
That's not how they explain the gun working in the classroom. So they explain the gun working in the classroom just by you telling it whatever round you want, and it has a magazine that has a preset, 23 shots, 24 shots, something like that. It would just piss out whatever bullet you wanted.
Yeah. He didn't tell it, so it was just on standard bullet, and it was out of standard bullets.
Yeah, but that's all, I was under the assumption that's all these guns had were standard bullets until you tell it something else.
No idea. Dredd shoots a flare. It doesn't even hit Rico. It just goes by him.
Yeah.
Distracts Rico enough that he just like turns like, oh, what the fuck is that? Never seen that before.
He literally says, "H.E. flare!" He just shoots a flare over nowhere.
Dredd just chucks Rico off the edge. Such a unsatisfying ending to a fight.
Yeah, it is.
To any villain.
And then when he goes to climb up, evil Asian girl is up there about to shoot him.
Yeah.
Then Hershey just blows her guts out by shooting her in the back.
No loose ends.
Yeah, no loose ends. She would have known that she did not incapacitate this woman she was beating the crap out of.
I guess she kung fu'd her enough that she thought she wasn't getting back up.
Gave her the Judy chops.
Yeah.
Judy chop! Don't go Judy chopping nothing. Don't need Judy chopping.
So the ending sequence, they go out. All the Dredds. I'm guessing these are all the ones alive in the central city.
Yeah.
So there's not many left. These are all like the street judges.
Yes.
They're all like, "Hey, Dredd, you want to be the High Council because we need law and order."
Yeah.
And there's no one left anymore.
He literally walks up and says, "Dredd, we would like you to be the new Chief Justice." And Dredd's like, "Nope, sorry guys," because he Westworlds it. His programming can't let him do anything else. He literally looked at that street judge and was like, "Don't look like anything I ever saw before." And walked right by him.
No, it's because he's not done murdering people yet.
Right.
But he does become Chief Justice later on.
Yeah, he can still murder people as Chief Justice. He can murder more people as Chief Justice.
Like, I think it's after the next big war or whatever. It's like 2130 something. He's like 70.
Right.
At this time, he's Chief Justice and stuff.
Oh, he's like 70? You know who's primed to play the role of Judge Dredd as a 70-year-old man? Sylvester Stallone. He's finally aged into the role. Out of all the other shitty movies he's got greenlit.
It'd be just like Rocky, you know?
Actually, it wouldn't be like Rocky because...
Go back and watch it. Say that now.
You're right. It's not. It's not.
I do enjoy the Creed movies are great, though.
Oh, yeah. Creed's amazing.
But you go back and watch... The fight sequences, all the boxing is so stupid. They're just literally standing there punching each other wide open, no defense.
Point blank.
Yeah, it's like no one would ever survive more than one match.
I would be up for a Judge Dredd too.
He's the Chief Justice.
If they get Stallone on and be like, "Hey, we want you to come back for Judge Dredd too." These comic book films seem to be really catching on with the kids.
One of the best story arcs is before he becomes Chief Justice, he travels from Mega City 1, which is on the East Coast there, and to Mega City 2, which is on the West Coast. Also, there's only about 3 mega cities in the U.S., which Texas is the third one. Yeah, he travels across this wasteland, and it's like Mad Max-esque. Mm-hmm. It's just one of the best comic story arcs, like 25 run.
So in the DC universe, everything is actually happening on different versions of Earth, right? Mm-hmm. Like Earth 1, Earth 2, and so on and so forth. So, I got an idea for you. This would be perfect. The Flash runs so fast, he crosses barriers into the alternate reality where Judge Dredd is, as the 70-something-year-old Supreme Justice Judge Dredd and rips Sylvester Stallone into the DCEU so that he's right there with Wonder Woman and Aquaman.
What's he going to do with them?
I don't know. It'd be amazing.
He'd be some old guy just shitting himself and be like,
No, he's here to bring the law. He has just as many powers as Batman has.
Yeah, but he's not rich.
He actually has more powers than Batman has. Because he's been actually beating the crap out of people for 70 years. There you go. We got to get Judge Dredd to the DCEU. What if that's the Snyder Cut?
The Snyder Cut?
That's the Snyder
Dredd
Cut.
comes in. What you're describing is pretty much Infinite Crisis.
Yeah, Crisis on Infinite Earth.
Yeah, where Flash does that. But the only crossover that DC ever has with Dredd was Batman, where Dredd comes to Gotham City and starts dispensing justice. Him and Batman, which is the only DC superhero that Dredd could actually match up with one-on-one. That makes sense, because they're kind of the same person. He's not rich.
This movie was great.
This ending sequence... He just walks off. Yeah. I'm on duty. I'm late for work.
I can't be justice. I'm just a street judge.
It doesn't solve anything.
Walks over, steals an officer's bike and armor.
Yep. Drives off.
Rides off. Rides off at a speed that you can walk at. Because these bikes can't move.
The city is in tatters.
Yeah.
There's not enough judges to police it. There's no council or anything.
Right. He just says, fuck it.
He's like the senior officer.
You should be in command. Yeah, you're right. You're the ranking officer.
Like, whatever. No fucks given.
They're stunned. They don't know what the fuck to do.
I'm sure the city collapses in on itself.
Oh, yeah.
And he's just watching it burn while he's just beating up people that are fucking littering and, eating candy and shit.
Eating candy, jaywalking, littering.
Yeah. Smoking outside designated smoking areas.
Ooh.
Fucking criminal. There was some guy who had parking tickets and a couple DUIs. He's being kind of a dick. So he blows up his Ferrari-esque vehicle.
Yeah. He was like, so what, are you going to have me towed? He's like, no, that's only for first-time offenders. You're like a fifth-time offender. And he grenades his car on the street.
There's no way.
People are walking by.
That is legal.
he could have murdered people right there.
It's insane.
I'm just saying that he would fit into any modern-day police force. No changes whatsoever.
He already follows the code. He's not going to rat out his brothers. Actually, he would turn on them. But that's only if they're not murdering enough people.
Yeah. They don't have a high enough body count.
Yeah.
They can't be the law anymore. Oh, my goodness. So, what did you think of this movie?
Minus the CGI and some of the dumb plot points.
We can forgive the CGI.
It's for the time.
The CGIs of the time. Their big, bulky plastic armor is of the time, but it didn't look bad. It just looked bulky and heavy.
It's great. This is a great movie. Rico Armand Asante.
Yeah.
He does amazing. He's over the top.
He's over the top.
It's perfect with the way Sylvester Stallone. He's not a great actor by any means.
With those two, it reminds me of Travolta and Cage in Face Off, right? It reminds me that they just took and said, okay, this is how Stallone's acting. We want you to go do an impression of him.
Oh, yeah.
And it's just like Travolta doing a Nick Cage impression, right? That's exactly what this movie is.
It's great. It's just like so over the top. Stallone just ridiculous one-liners, horrible acting, and then this guy's just right there copying them.
Yeah. Everybody in this movie is trolling him. It's great.
Yeah, but he doesn't get the joke.
No.
He doesn't get it.
Because his program, he doesn't let him.
Because in real life, he's like just thinking that he's the fucking Judge Dredd badass.
Yes. He doesn't realize it's just a role he's playing.
But in actuality, he's just expendable.
Oh, God. If we can get 3 Expendables movies, we can get a Judge Dredd too. Somebody needs to float it by him. That paycheck's just sitting there.
Oh, it's waiting.
Just sitting there ready to be cashed.
How did you feel?
I thought this was incredible. A lot of the movies we watch, I sit there and watch it just like, who greenlit this? Mm-hmm. And I sat there and watched this one saying, why can't this be made today? Like, this movie is amazing. I mean, yeah, it suffers from 90s blockbuster action movie at the time, but there is nothing in this movie that they couldn't copy-paste with modern effects and still be just as good as anything that DC's putting out right now.
There are some really good storylines in the comics that they could easily use.
Yeah.
Stallone is the right age to be towards the end of this comic series.
Yeah. I think that could save DC Comics.
We'll see after the Snyder Cut.
God, they need something good. They need it bad. This could be what saves them. I mean, do it, DC.
They could very easily make a great story. I haven't heard about any reboots yet, but I'm sure someone's out there writing a script right now.
There's
scripts out there.
This movie was better than Ant-Man. This movie was better than Captain America: First Avenger. This movie was better than the first Thor movie. I think it was better than Ant-Man.
No way.
Yeah.
Ant-Man was great.
I didn't say Ant-Man was bad. I just said this was better than Ant-Man.
No.
But I'm just saying that as far as Marvel movies go of the current decade, this is as good as any of them. It really is. As far as DC movies go, this is better than most of them.
I'll give you that. It's better than most of the DC movies.
Yeah. So this movie could easily be made today and be amazing. I loved it.
Well, hopefully, maybe we'll see something come out soon.
Dude.
They're redoing everything else.
It is prime for
as long as it's not something where they take another script for a movie and slap in the name Dredd.
No, man. This is prime for a continuation.
I would love a new Demolition Man.
I would love a Demolition Man as well.
And it has the same concept, too, as post-apocalyptic in a future setting. It's like cheesy and good as this was. I fucking love Demolition Man that much more.
Yeah. Rat burger?
See the fucking cows around here, Danny?
10 out of 10. Badass seal of approval. This movie was awesome.
I'll go 8. I could give it a 10. You're crazy. Well, that about wraps it up.
Yeah.
Thanks for joining us here on another episode of Why I Hate This Movie. Like, comment, and subscribe.
Maybe we'll hate the next one.
I knew you'd do that.